Good afternoon. This is Karen Whiting and I welcome you to my kitchen. Today I'm going to do something with apples and cinnamon and bread. I grew up with apple trees in my backyard that my great-grandfather planted, so I always like to make apple treats. And I like to use fresh cinnamon and just kind of grind it up because that makes it really a more powerful scent and really smells good. I think about how 2 Corinthians 14:15 says that we are a fragrance of Christ. And bread has its own fragrance. When you add some more spices in, wow, that's really great. So again, I'm going to use just flour and yogurt as the main ingredients, but this time I chose to use a yogurt that is a cinnamon apple yogurt to add in a little bit more of the cinnamon apple flavor, just having it all the way through the dough. So we're going to mix this up. This takes a couple minutes to do that. And now what I'll be making are these cinnamon breadsticks, cinnamon apple breadsticks. And I can do some, I've done some that are in my hot air fryer because that gets them a little crispier, and some that are just in the oven, which you can turn over if you want it brown on both sides and a little bit crispier. And then I did some where I put the apples on and twist around to have the apples show through and make it more of a pastry, in which I put on some glaze that I just mixed up, some powdered sugar and milk. I just mix that till I get this consistency I want for the powdered sugar. For this flour, this is feeling a little soft, which means as I go to use it, I'll probably be adding a little more flour. I'm going to take a few that are just going to be the cinnamon sticks, and I'm actually going to put that dough to the side for the moment. I'm going to take the other dough, and I want to put that out here and make the ones with the apples that you really see the apples in there. Now for these that are the sticks that the apple is showing, I have cooked my apple down. I chopped it up and I added in cinnamon sugar and just cooked it on in my microwave for 1 minute. And that gave me enough. Now I made it small, not as big as I might cut apples for an apple pie, because these are just little breadsticks, and so they can have that a little bit smaller. Okay, this is a little lumpy. So I'm going to take my flour wand and add a little flour down here. Alright, and let me just roll some of this out. So I'm going to roll the dough out, and then I'm going to cut it into strips to make these particular breadsticks. And then I will put the apple on each strip. I'm going to make 4 here. And again, my yogurt is half yogurt, half flour, actually a little bit more flour, because if I use the plain yogurt, it would be a little bit thicker. But this one and that dough is still a little too thin for me, so I'm going to take it and put some more flour down and roll it out again, just to get it a little more stiff for my breadsticks, and that'll be fine. And I'm just going to roll it out again a little bit. One more flour on it, and in it. Put a little more flour on here. One side of this has holes in it where the flour comes out, and the other side is solid. And then I can just dust my flour on without getting too much on it. So that'll add a little body to it, because they were feeling a little soft. That's just a matter of it. The more you work with dough, the more you know how your dough actually feels, and it is the softness or stiffness that you want. Do you need more liquid to it? Do you need more flour to give it more body? That type of thing. And now, let me try cutting these again. So it has a little more than I need right there. Okay, so now I'm going to take the cooked apple. I'm just going to put that right down on here. Let's put my chopped apples right on it to have some nice apple flavor in there, apple cinnamon. And I'm going to take it and just twist it around a little bit. And I can twist it from either direction to make it go easier. And then I can put it on my cookie sheet, which is over here where you can see that. So, and if I feel like I don't have enough apples in the parts that are showing, I can add just a a little bit more to it. And then I would do my next one. And right now I think I'm just gonna do one more to show you again what I'm doing. That I just put these apples down along the whole length of my breadstick. And then I start at one end and I just kind of twist it around, and I go from the other end and twist it. Now see here where I don't feel like I have very much, I'm going to add a little more apple and twist that up. And again, I can put this right down here, and I will put some butter and sugar and cinnamon on that. But right now what I want to do also is to go ahead and move over a little bit here and work on my just plain apple breadsticks. This is a very sticky dough, so it really needs a little bit more flour. So in this case, I might have done, a half a cup of yogurt and 3/4 of a cup of flour. I just put a tablespoon more in than that. And I want to put my apples on here, mix it into the dough. And this is just chopped apples with a little bit of cinnamon and sugar on them that I've rolled them in. They're not cooked. They'll just cook up when it goes, because then these sticks are a little bit easier for children just to carry and eat with them. Okay, so we're gonna add on this flour. And so for each of these, I'm just gonna take a piece of the roll that I've made here and make them into a small little roll, little snake. I can just roll it up, put that down, and I can make them any length I want to, whether I want them to be long or short. But for young children, some of my younger grandchildren, I prefer to have just a shorter stick. But for those who are older, the teens, it's kind of nice to have a bigger stick to eat. Now on all of these, what I'm going to do next is just some of the flour off my hand first. I'm going to take my melted butter and I'm going to brush some of that right over my little stick. I'll roll it, well, I'll do that afterwards. And then I'm going to sprinkle on some of the sugar and cinnamon that I've done. And again, I did grind up that cinnamon, so it's a little bit darker spots here and there because it is fresh cinnamon that I've been grinding. And on these little ones, I'm going to roll them over, and I'm going to add a little more of the butter and the cinnamon, and then they're ready to cook. And I can, the ones with the apple all on it, I can roll some of this back in some of that apple, some of the cinnamon sugar. The ones that have the apples showing, I'm really going to make sure I do in the oven. They're a little bit messier for the air fryer, but these sticks I can switch and put into the air fryer if that's what I want to do. Now once they come out, then I take my powdered sugar, confectionery sugar, and mix it with a little bit of milk. And I like to get a consistency that's a little bit thick. I don't want it to be too runny, so that it will stay on there and be seen. And it's okay if I use the spoon I had my cinnamon sugar in, because it'll just add a little more flavor to it. And I'm just going to add on a glaze to those little parts. And you can even glaze the little sticks if you want to, because children may like that little bit sugar. But I generally don't if I just want them to eat it on the run, because then I don't want their fingers to get too sticky. But as you can see, it's a very simple treat. It doesn't take many ingredients to do, and it can be done pretty fast. So thank you for coming, and may you be a fragrance of Christ to all you see this week.